So, but it's two legs, but you're 2 and 2 on the legs of the intersection at that point on option 4, so. So that fits what you guys would normally do. It's the land acquisition that is outside of the norm.
Right, that's, yeah. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to bring up, that we have to decide then where are we gonna pull that money from? Depending on that, how high that number goes.
And I,
It probably saves you
Well,
guys money to get option 4 at the 50/50 versus option 5 at the 66/33. It probably saves you money for number 4, or it's pretty dang close. Because in option 5, you'd be paying for 2/3, 1/3 of the whole intersection. In option 4, you're only paying 50% of the intersection and 50% of this other road. So it probably is about, depending on what price we get the Minco acquisition, I think it's probably about a wash, if not a savings for number 4. And then we still have the attachment option for the apartments over there. I think that's a good compromise.
well, I like that we have an agreement that if we don't get the grant, it sounds like we're going back to the drawing board. I hope we don't have to do that, but I'm glad we have an agreement on that. Let's go back to we have a motion on the table for option 5 with 2/3, 1/3 split. I don't know if there's any other details to that motion that we need to refer back to. Personally, I'm fine with option 5. I'm also fine with option 4. I want to make sure our admin staff are okay with the cost share component that's consistent with our county policy. Is really my biggest concern after option 4 or 5. Any other comments, questions, suggestions? Otherwise, we'll call the motion. Go ahead. Well, you already made the motion and you seconded it to pursue to recommend option 5 with a cost share of 2/3, 1/3. And any other details of that?
But nothing with land acquisition at all.
And I think there was discussion on leaving Credit Union Drive and enter exit as is, as was part of the city motion. So I thought you were gonna mirror that.
Option 4 was our voted on option. That's what we preferred.
But previous to that, it was option 5.
You've
So that's what they
suggested
were
both
still
5
on.
and 4, and I'm fine with
Yeah.
that as well.
We've said, now
Four.
all the motions we've made, we've gone 4-0, have been 4 as our number 1 option. But
You might be getting them
5 is
confused.
number 2.
Number
so-
4 is the one with the
So
connection point.
Our motion that we just passed was a 50/50 split for option number 4 on the entire project, land acquisition included, because like Jason said, if we're not splitting the land acquisition, then that gets our costs out of line with where it's really not feasible for us.
And if we do the 50/50 split on that intersection, you're still meeting your legal requirements that you have.
And if we don't come
And
up
as a
with a
second-
decision tonight, we're gonna be back here with $1.5 million less dollars possibly, making the same decision. So,
Yeah, we'll make a decision. We'll get there. We can rescind this if we want, or we can, like I said, I'm fine with option 4 or 5, making sure it's consistent with our county policy. And not only the policy that Justin's covered, but also the nuances of funding the project, that there's gonna be some things that we can use ARPA funds for, and we can't, and there are probably some restrictions what you can do on the city level too. So I think it's having that partnership, I think we can figure that out
Right.
when we get to that point. I'm fine with option 4 or 5. What's the wishes of the other commissioners?
Option 4 was their first pick. Is that what we have to do? Should we rescind the motion? And
I'm fine with either one.
So option 4, as they stated, is,
do you just want to say you're fine with
it
either one?
isn't within county policy because it's including the acquisition of the property. It would be within county policy if it was without the acquisition of the property. Then it would be a 50/50 because of the 4, correct? But because of the addition of acquisition of the property, then it puts us outside that policy.
You know, and so this is.
Maybe
number
not
1
as
is
straightforward
4
as,
50/50 split.
yes, no, when we're dealing with right-of-way and property acquisition for a city street. Obviously, the county standpoint, we would pay for portions that benefit our county roads. City would pay for those
But
portions.
I really
There
think
is
that we ought to
some
do this because it's.
negotiation, if
I
you
don't know
will,
what you're
if the
gonna do.
county board did want to
And I mean,
look at that.
I think
And
this is
obviously,
the
as
best alternative
Josie
if we
alluded
don't get
to,
it, but I mean.
it's a guidance, it's a
that's-
policy that's instated for typical projects. But again, looking at this project from being more of a development-driven, I know I keep mentioning that,
Right.
but looking at that
Yep,
as
yep.
far as how do we get here? And I think that kind of takes onus on some, both agencies having skin in the game to make sure this project goes forward.
Yeah, so that's my, that's my concern with their, number 4 is, it's a 50-50, but including the land acquisition, and that's where we need to recognize that,
It's also including the grant. If the grant doesn't come in, we're gonna be back in square one, and 4 years later, we still haven't got this resolved.
And at a 50.
and I'm not opposed to it, I just wanna make sure that we're aware of that, and that we would need to then figure out that.
And at a 50-50 split on number 4, you're probably saving money on a 2/3, 1/3 split on number 5. And we're getting a better result for that apartment building, because without that attachment leg, that apartment building really has no option. So
Staff, do we have an idea with all the changing numbers and the price we're looking at for the land and all that? Do we have an updated impact on our levy? Because you gave us those numbers earlier today, and I thought that was interesting and concerning.
Yeah, just to clarify, we do set aside construction dollars from the local levy for our construction program. We also have CASA dollars, which could be used on a CASA road, such as Heritage Boulevard, CASA 5. We do have our local option sales tax as well. So from a funding standpoint, the premise of breaking that funding down was to give the commissioners some kind of guidance to look at, okay, we've earmarked some ARPA dollars for this project. If we're successful in this grant money, that would mean we could cover this project for most instances with our apportionment of the LRIP grant and the ARPA savings dollars combined, and it would have zero impact to our total construction.
I think you have like 850,000 in ARPA, right?
You were correct, Mayor Gordon. So if that helps, from a funding aspect, looking at, on the case of if we are, and I think that's what we're speaking as what Jason mentioned too, if the LRIP grant isn't successful, this project gets tabled. It falls through. So looking at that scenario, that's where we would cover between our apportionment of the LRIP grant funding and any ARPA dollars that have been earmarked towards this project. We wouldn't dip into our normal construction program dollars, CASA dollars, local levy, local option sales tax.
I made a motion for option 5, and I like it, but I'm not opposed to option 4. Do you have a problem if we mirror the city's motion because, from a financial perspective? Because I think that would add a little bit more weight to the grant.
I can't speak on terms of the funding sources. I'd kind of default to the finance director to make those decisions on where we can use our funding.
If you think of it this way, the city residents pay county and city tax, and it's pretty much even. So the county and the city both collect roughly the same amount of money from our taxpayers, so that's a 50-50 split. So in this case, we're trying to split this project 50-50, and I think that's more than fair if you look at it from that perspective.
I'm going to make a motion to rescind my motion for option 5. Commissioner LaRoe, you seconded. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
All those in favor of rescinding the motion on the table of option 5 with the contingent details in it, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have rescinded that motion. We're back to the drawing board. Can we go forward with mirroring the city's, what they approved? Do we have any concerns or thoughts on that? The one bit, I'm concerned about our county protection of the budget, I get that, but I do like it for adding a little bit more weight that we're showing consistency in our partnership with the city as far as the grant application goes.
Based on the negotiations for the land. I can go-
Absolutely, yes,
I
yes.
can go along with that.
Okay, and your motion was, if I remember correctly, for option 4 with a 50-50 share with the county. And if the land purchase does not go through, that option 5 would be the backup at a 1/3, 2/3 arrangement. Am I missing anything?
Just with the in and out or the right-hand turn on
Yes.
credit union,
Yep.
that's up for kind of discussion on the
That can
fine
be
details.
done anytime
Right.
later. We just need to get this grant filled out.
Yep. Anything that I missed there? So that's, okay, I'm making the motion that I just said.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to pursue option 4 contingent upon the land purchase, and if that does not come through, option 5 is our backup. Any other discussion?
Contingent on the grant, not the land.
I think,
Both. It was both.
Was it both? Okay.
that's a good thing to add in the motion, I like that, Bill. Just, I think we've all talked about it, but I think that would be
Yeah.
good to have in the minutes.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We have a 4-0 unanimous vote for this. Take that, House of Representatives. What do we have next?
All right. Moving on to F4, consider resolution for LRIP grant City of Support.
So Mayor and Council, so we need to pass our resolution. This is the second half of the resolution that the commissioners passed, which is to apply, allow Bolt Liming to apply for the grant, 2/3, 1/3 split. I think that if we end up getting that fourth leg, that may potentially change it, but at least we just have to apply. So I would recommend that we go through with what the resolution was that they passed, which was 2/3, 1/3. That puts the, with a total application fee of $7,000 for Bolton and Mink. We do need to pass that one.
So you're saying we're gonna approve the grant application to go for a 2/3, 1/3 cost sharing, but in reality, the county would give us the other 17% back if we were able to get option 4 done. So it's
Well, this is just
50/50.
to apply for the grant. So authorizing Bolton and Mink to apply for the grant. The next one is the letter of support, and that one we are going to share however many legs we do with the option.
Okay, so you need a,
Okay with that?
Motion to approve, apply for the grant.
Second.
I have a motion to apply from the grant from Councilman Lundin and a second from Councilman Merrill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
All right, next, Mayor and Council, is to have a letter of support that Bolton and Mink and Jason's team will supply with the grant application, authorizing us to move forward with these intersection improvements.
Okay?
I make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Lundin and a second from Councilman Merrill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
And now the commissioners have the same resolution, right?
I did receive the resolution. I think we still have time. I didn't have it prepared. I'll be honest, I didn't have.
I think I formatted it for you. I sent it to Amanda.
Yep, Amanda should have it. So we do, if we want to go forward with approving that tonight. I
So
haven't
if
put
we
it on.
don't go forward with it tonight, we can't complete it with the application. There won't be time for the next meeting.
No, yeah, it should be in the packet. I defer to Jason, but I think even for our townships, we can give LRIP letter of support for resolutions up until that date of submission for the application, is my understanding.
Letters of support in the resolution.
Basically, just the first one is just saying it would approve him in applying for the grant. And the way this is written is the 2/3, 1/3, so I mean, that would- the county would get 2/3 of the grant, and you, so, but then I think we'll adjust that. I mean,
I have numerous letters of support for
obviously, if we go with
townships,
option
so I was gonna try to
4,
get,
we're gonna split
you know,
50/50,
get them all on the docket at once.
but
I'm looking at the resolution right now. It says, resolution authorizing a 2023 local road improvement program application for the County Road 5 and East Dual Boulevard intersection improvement project, whereas. basically discussing the 2/3, 1/3 project share, which is what we just agreed upon in the option 4. So I don't see anything wrong with it. Staff have any suggestions or? Okay. Does that work for the grant?
Yeah, it does, and
Okay.
whether or not you guys wanna even add an extra line in there about the 50/50 on whichever I mean, whatever you guys wanna do, it's your guys' resolution to support going for the grant, so.
Actually, the resolution that you're reading right now is for application of the grant. The letter of support doesn't have any percentage. That's just our understanding.
So what business do we have left on the county end?
So the next item would be on both items, or both boards would be something I think we can do next meeting. It was to authorize staff to enter into a joint powers agreement for outlining the project and collaboration details, but I think honestly, we can do that at a later date to see if we even get to the point of getting anywhere with these options and if we receive the grant. I think if it looks like we're going to get the grant, then we need to enter into all the details.
We really aren't
Sounds
doing
good.
that after we
Anything else?
closed session, so, yeah. And we just, basically, whatever we had discussed was what we made that.
So I would like to do a quick recap,
you
not
bet.
of the
You guys
whole
have been
meeting,
going all
but
day long.
just on how it's going to go with negotiations for this land. City staff is going to work with Alicia Long at the county in negotiations up to the threshold that we discussed. If they do not do that by the November 3rd timeline, staff is authorized to move forward with option 5 as was discussed and motioned and approved at this meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn from Councilman Lundin and a second from Councilman Merrill. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion
Tony, wanna do the
carries
same
4-0.
Commissioner Berg? Westerberg says yes. Commissioner Berg? All right, we are adjourned as well.
Thank you, guys. That's, I know it's a late night.